Hello, so here we are again. Today's Monday, first class of the week, and we have a meteor. I was going to say an asteroid. So, what's the difference between an asteroid and a meteor? Well, maybe we'll discover because that's what we're looking at today. This is today's photo. Anyone want to take the guts to describe what we're seeing here? Anyone have the guts to describe what we see here? To use your English, to practice your English a little bit, to describe the colors.
Yeah, they are meteors, and probably they are going to hit uh, Earth's surface. It's maybe kind of uh, uh, in Italian we say, translated in English, rain of meteors. So when there are many meteors or stones falling on the
Mhm.
earth, but I don't know how to say that in English. But yeah,
So meteor shower. We say meteor
meteor
shower.
shower. Yeah,
That's
great.
it.
Thank
Carry
you.
on, carry on.
And yeah, probably we have this maybe firing or yeah, rocks
Hmm.
having high temperature. So there is kind of uh, melting rocks arriving on the earth. And yeah, if it was real, the situation could be very
Hmm.
dangerous for us, because all those fragments could hit the earth almost everywhere or in a large area. And from this point on, I think many movies have described the human's reaction to this event, maybe using bombs or using
Hmm.
devices to change the direction of meteors. And yeah, I
Yes.
think there are lots of movies about this uh, this event that
Theme.
probably
Theme.
yeah, somewhere in time could happen. I don't know.
Hmm. Yes, very good. Very, very good. Hopefully that was stretched your imagination and your use of English a little bit there. Yeah, I can't really improve on that. So yes, you might say, so this is a theme of meteors hitting the Earth or striking the Earth is a theme that does come up into films and in stories quite a bit. It's quite exciting. Quite a few $1 million have been made, I think, in films, perhaps in a few billion, I don't know. So yeah, so in this photo or diagram or picture, I can see what appears to be some large meteors and small meteors appearing to strike a planet that's presumably Earth. The small ones appear to be presumably burn up and won't hit the Earth as such, or burn up in the atmosphere. But the large one appears here to be quite large. We don't really know how large that is. It could be an inch across or half a mile across. In terms of what we're looking at here, we don't really know how big that is. But if it was, my understanding is, if it hit the Earth, we then call it a meteorite. But when it's in the air or in the atmosphere and it's causing this, and it's burning incandescently, in other words, with a bright light, very bright, almost blinding, but it's quite small. Um, when they're doing that, it's called a meteor. And I think the small ones are sometimes just referred to as meteoroids, because they're so small. This is like almost like grains of dust, or just slightly larger maybe. But this one in the middle looks huge. So when they strike the ground, we then call them meteorites. And so if you walk around on the ground, you'll see, what's that big black thing there? Oh, that's a meteorite. Maybe it is, maybe it is, of course, we don't know. Okay, so yeah, just scroll on. Any questions about that little bit there? Any queries? That's great.
I don't
Oops.
know what about the original word, original of the meteor, but
Hmm.
in my
Oh yeah.
language, it's meaning they're very fast. When we try to describe someone who's moving very fast, we call, oh, it's like meteor. So maybe
Yes.
the
Yes.
Greece roots of this word is
Yeah.
meaning the moving very fast.
Fast mover or something. That's
Fast.
interesting. I really don't know. Whoops, I misspelled it already. Let's search it on the dictionary then. So meteor crater, meteor shower, meteor strike. A piece of rock or metal that burns very brightly when it enters the Earth's atmosphere from space. So it's called a meteor, as I understand it, when it's in the atmosphere burning up in the sky, effectively. So a falling star is another phrase. A comet, they're not really necessarily a comet. That's a bit misleading. But it's a meteorite when it hits the ground, as I understand it. And fireball, I've never really heard that phrase used necessarily about meteors. It could be used about anything, really. You know, a burning car going down the road. If there's been a terrible accident, you might call that a fireball. But okay, so 15th century medieval Latin meteorum from Latin, also from Greek meteoron, something aloft, up above, from meteoros, lofty, from meta, intensifier, to raise. So it's about being up above us, really. Lofty, raise up, that sort of thing, seems to be. That's funny because I would have thought it was about speed as well. But I think I have a suspicion it is somehow. So in British, so the 1950s, I think there was a Meteor aircraft called a Meteor. So I guess it went as fast as a Meteor, maybe. So I think you're right, really, Michael. It's more nowadays. Definitely, it's about speed, isn't it? But they're saying, according to that dictionary, it was just aloft. The meaning. Okay, so we've talked about meteors a little bit. So let's look at the title here then. So scientists found the most likely spot on Earth to get hit by a meteor. Interesting. Potential impactors are most likely to have low velocities and the highest likelihood of hitting Earth during the winter. So velocities is the speeds that they move at. Scientists normally talk about velocity, don't they? They don't say speed, they often say velocity, but it's essentially the same word meaning. So thank you, Elizabeth Rayne, for writing this article. Oh, that little picture of her came up there? Oh, I didn't. You can play this as well. 6 minutes. There's our photo, and it's a Getty's image, and it also comes from Adastra. Adastra. That's Latin, isn't it? Adastra, I think. To the stars, does it mean? Yeah, to the stars. That means Adastra. Okay, so let me just read to you this little bit here, which seems to be the summary of everything that we're going to learn today. So, in terms of about meteors, I guess. So it says, here's what you'll learn when you read this story. Much about interstellar objects still eludes us, but researchers figured out is very much an Americanism, whether said calculated or have proved or shown, if a British person would say that, but Americans say figured out very often, what it would take for a hypothetical space rock to collide with Earth. Simulations found that potential impactors are most likely to have low velocities and orbit with low eccentricity. They also have the highest probability of hitting Earth in the winter. That's surprising. While this study is hypothetical, it does give an idea of what to expect when things from outside our solar system tr- tr- trespass on our turf. Is that okay? Any words that are interesting? Hypothetical. Latin, I think, isn't it? Was it? No, it's Greek, isn't it? Hypothetical.
Yeah,
So,
trespass is new.
okay. I think there's a little bit of a saying here, trespass on our turf. So if you trespass, I should say. I think I have heard people say trespass, but it's really trespass. The meaning there is this idea that you go onto someone else's property where you shouldn't really be. So you go into someone's garden perhaps, and you shouldn't really be there. Or you go onto jump over a fence, and you're into a company's or a place where you shouldn't really be, perhaps. Does that make sense? You could be there to steal something, but that's not the point. You're not really meant to be in that particular place. That's trespass. Trespass. You shouldn't be in that place. In English law, it's a little bit tricky in the sense that it's almost not, there isn't really it almost isn't really a law that says there is such a thing as trespass. But in other ways there is, because there are many places you shouldn't really be in. But a lot of people think trespass is going into someone's back garden, and that would be trespass, but it isn't really. So it's a weird thing in law, trespass. But in America, it may be different. In Australia, it may be different. Or Italy, it may be different too. But in Britain, it's a bit of a sort of bit of a weak area. There isn't much law about. There is law about it, but a lot of people seem to misunderstand it. And so when we say trespass on our turf, it means there's this idea you coming onto my property or onto my land. And here they mean the solar system, really, when they say our land. It means where we live. Okay. Impactors. I don't think we'd say impactors. That's very much a sort of a NASA term. NASA aims, I think, say this quite a bit. Um, we would just simply talk about meteorites. We'd talk about meteorites if a Brit was writing his article. So I'm guessing it isn't a Brit, but maybe I'm totally wrong. Okay, so Giuseppe, you're in first. So you've got the first go. So I can see lots of strange terms, but do your best. I'm sure you'll do very well. Over to you,
Okay.
Giuseppe.
Whether interstellar objects have anything to do with alien intelligence and technology is debatable, but the mysterious Oumuamua and alleged comets 21 Borisov and 31 Atlas are far from the only ones to trespass into the inner solar system. It is thought that unnumbered objects from elsewhere have whizzed through our territory, and in the 4.6 billion years Earth has been around, there might have been at least a few collisions. For now, the earlier objects have long since ventured further than anyone can observe them, and 31 Atlas is flying so close to the Sun that it's exhibiting increasingly weird behavior. Earth is in no imminent danger, but if we were to get body slammed by an interstellar visitor, where would it be most likely to hit us? This is what a team of researchers led by Daryl Seligman of Michigan State University wanted to find out. It seemed most likely to them that interstellar objects would come from M-star system. Based on this, they created mathematical simulations to figure out when potential impactors from other star systems would be most likely to hit us and where.
Brilliant. Very good. Very good. So anything, you want to go back over there to double check? It's a difficult name, not difficult, but very
Yeah,
unusual name. It won't come up very
maybe
often.
this verb have whizzed
Hmm.
in the fifth, yes, fifth line. Yeah,
Yeah,
have
there. So
whizzed.
have whizzed. So if something whizzes past you, it's gone past you at a quite a high speed. If you're walking along and someone whizzes past you, it means they've just run past you.
Mhm. Okay,
Whizzed. So a bullet
whizzed.
might whiz past you, that sort of a thing. There was something else, wasn't there? About body slam. Body slammed. How about that? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's a synonym for hit
Yes,
or
that's right. Yes.
yeah.
Hmm. Very good. Yeah, it's a little bit scientific. Simulations, mathematical, State University, interstellar visitor. So interstellar visitor is presumably the meteorite, the meteors or the meteorites or meteoroids or whatever we're talking about here. It doesn't actually name them here, does it? Just go back to body slam. So for a Brit, if you talk about body slam, it's something we might happen, I think, in a wrestling match. Um, one competitor might be on the ground in the ring, in the wrestling ring, and one of the other wrestlers might, I think, jump on them, and their body would hit their body. I think that's a body slam, or just run into them at full speed. That would be a body slam. So when you say body slam, it's sort of a bit made up, but there is actually a bit of history there to it. I don't know what the Americans might make of that phrase, body slam or body slammed in past tense.
Yeah.
So wrestling comes to Brits
I
might
think
be.
the
Mm,
first two lines are interesting because,
mm,
yeah, it's kind of doubt that
mm.
objects have anything to do with alien intelligence and technology.
Oh yes, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Let me just reread that whole thing. Actually, that might be interesting. Perhaps that's a little bit there. So, whether interstellar objects have anything to do with alien intelligence and technology is debatable. But the mysterious Oumuamua, and that's a tricky word, that one, isn't it? So, but I think that's how they say it, Oumuamua. Now, there's a little apostrophe up there going inwards, and I think originally this is an Hawaiian word, and so that little apostrophe might mean something, but I don't know what it means. Perhaps it means there's an sort of I don't know what it means. And alleged comets, and I think the name here is 2I. That's an I think. So 2I Borisov and 3I Atlas, and this one's in bold type for some reason, or because it's a link to another article, I think, are far from the only ones to trespass into the inner solar system. It is thought that unmanned objects, it is thought, and I think we said thought, it didn't come out quite right, so maybe that's a word to practice. So it is thought that unnumbered objects from elsewhere have whizzed through our territory, and in the 4.6 billion years Earth has been around, there may have been at least a few collisions. And so this is sort of sarcastic, this little bit here. So 4.6 billion years is a huge length of time. 4.6 million would be a long time, but 4.6 billion is absolutely incredibly long. And they're saying at least a few. Well, that's funny. That's quite funny. From a British point of view, that's quite a funny statement because it's so exactly the opposite of that. Okay, do you fancy just saying that is that word in particular? So thought. Do you fancy just saying that sort of line there, maybe? that bit there, just to practice the word thought. So it is thought that are unnumbered objects, etc.
It is thought that unnumbered objects from elsewhere.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So it is thought, it is thought that, it is thought. And again, maybe.
It is thought that unnumbered objects from elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe once more. So it is thought that, it is thought that, it is
It is
thought.
thought that.
Yeah,
It is thought that
yeah.
a number
Your
of.
first one of those little buns, that was the best one. And just once or twice more, maybe. It is thought that.
It is thought that.
Yeah, that's really good actually. You're making that's really good actually. That is so much. That is really good actually. Well done. Just drop something then. And you said whizzed really well. I wouldn't have known you hadn't heard of that word before. And you said trespass, I think quite well too. It looks like trespass, but it's basically said trespass. I haven't said that. Let's just make absolutely clear that's how they pronounce it. I say they, but it's we. Trespass, charge, trespasser. The main you normally hear about trespass. You don't really say trespassers, trespassing, as you might do, but
Trespass,
trespass. So it looks like pass, but it's trespass, isn't it?
trespass,
It's rather unusual, isn't it? But I think that's pretty much how you said it, actually. Do you want to say it just a couple of times, just make certain,
trespass,
Giuseppe?
Trespass.
Yeah.
Or better, trespass.
Yeah, that's perfect. That really is it. That's exactly it. So trespass.
trespass,
But I have heard people say trespass. They do. I'm not saying that's the correct way of saying it, but you definitely do hear people say that way. Perhaps to emphasize it, or just because they're saying it slowly. Sometimes you say a word slowly, you sort of say just read it almost as it's written, rather than sort of make these slight variations that we do in English. By sort of turning, I guess that was turned into something like a schwa sound. I guess trespass, something like that. Anyway. Um, I liked how you said this name, Daryl Seligman. It's not obvious. I'm not. I think I have vaguely heard of him, but that was good. Any questions from anyone at all? Any other questions, Giuseppe?
No, thank you.
Okay, that's great. Um, there was one other thing. I think what it was. So I just thought, and there was something down here somewhere, I think. What was it again? I think it was earlier. That's right. Yes. So maybe this. It just sounded slightly difficult for you when you were saying it. It came out okay. I could definitely understand it, but it just sounded like you were struggling very, very slightly. So maybe if I just read it a little bit there. So earlier. Earlier is the word. So I'll just read this bit to you. So, for now, the earlier objects have long since ventured further than any one can observe. So, for now, the earlier objects. So, for now, the earlier objects. So, do a little bit again, maybe.
For now, the earlier objects have long since ventured further than anyone can observe them.
Mm. Maybe just the objects earlier, maybe. Oh, sorry, the earlier objects earlier.
The earlier objects.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. Um, m- y- yeah, I think I can definitely understand it. But when you're saying it, I can hear you're giving a little bit of extra emphasis to the word, and that's, I guess, because of practicing it. So can you just say it in a flat way, as you might say any of the other words in this sentence? So you're sort of giving extra emphasis to it because you're sort of practicing it. But can you say it in a normal way, as you might read it? So maybe
The, yeah,
that sentence again, but try to say it normally. So the earlier, like that.
the earlier objects.
Yeah, yeah.
Earlier.
Yeah, that's the last one was the best one then. Yeah, so it's a tricky sort of a sound. That, ugh. So if I just say it a few times, get the idea, because you just give it a little bit too hard a start to the word, too strong at the start. So earlier, earlier, earlier. So you might be tempted to say ear, and we do say ear that way, but when it's this word here that starts with ear, we say earlier, earlier, unless you're emphasizing it for some reason. But in everyday speech, it's just earlier, earlier. Do you want to just say earlier a couple of times in that sort of very flat way? Earlier.
Earlier, earlier.
Yeah. It's still giving a little bit emphasis to the beginning, I think. Let's just quickly pop it into the dictionary. I'm not quite sure if there is any emphasis on it earlier. I suppose there probably is a bit of emphasis on the beginning. So let's see what they say. Yeah, they do have an underlined at the front, don't they? So they are effectively saying the vowels at the front are emphasized. But let's hear how they say it here.
earlier,
Yeah, you're pretty much copying them almost exactly, really.
earlier,
Yeah, have they got it into a sentence? It's often the problem is always at the very often at the beginning of a sentence. So let's hear how this says. So you might start off the beginning of a sentence with a slightly stronger sound at the beginning.
earlier reports of gunshots have not been substantiated.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a little bit flattened down, isn't it? What's that one there?
Many years earlier, Grundy had given the Beatles their first television break.
Okay, yeah, so that's an electronic voice. Okay, we'll leave it at that then. Okay. Anything else you want to practice there or anything? We'll go back over, Giuseppe, otherwise we'll scroll on.
No, I think
That's it.
we practice.
Okay. That's it. That's good. And so these names, that's 2i and 3i. So if you come across them again, and that is, I'm almost certain that is Amua Amua. That's Amua Amua. That word there. Okay. So if we use it again, I don't know if it comes up in the article again, but here we go. So Michael, it's over to you now. This is your go.
Mm. I have a question. M
Okay.
stars, M star system. It's the meaning Milky Way star system, or what does it mean? M star systems.
I think it's the type of star, effectively the size or the heat of the star that it puts out, you could say. So let's quickly have a look at that phrase. M star systems. I don't really know, to be honest. I think I think we're in an M star system. So let's look at the Science Direct on my cursor. So M stars are defined as oh no, they're not, supergiants that exhibit apparent modes switching and are typically found at high galactic latitudes, potentially representing dot 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 dot. Now let's read the AI overview then. So M stars are star systems that contain at least one M-class star, which is cool, small, and dim star known as a red dwarf. These systems can be single M stars or they can be multiple star systems with two or more stars, such as binary or triple systems. Planets are frequently found orbiting M stars, with many rocky planets existing in the habitable zone where liquid water exists. So I would say we live possibly in an M star system. Let's put that in there. Do we, whoops, I can't spell. Do we live in an M star? Let's take off the S off the end. Do we live in an M star system? Yes, no. No. Our solar system does not have an M class star. Our sun is G star type star. M class stars, also known as red dwarfs. Okay, yeah. So we're in a G, not an M. So
So
but they
M
did,
class, S
yeah,
class like Mercedes,
yeah.
S class, G class.
So is G? So what's a G class? I don't know. Grotty, good, could be anything, couldn't it? I think it just goes through the alphabet, doesn't it? Really, I think.
Yeah.
So there we go. So our star, the sun, is a G type star. There we go. It says okay. So wanted to find out, it seemed that most likely to them that interstellar objects would come from M star systems. So it's where the objects, such as these meteorites that we're saying, or meteors, would be coming from, possibly. There we go. Thank you. I think I've learned something there. So over to you. So the highest velocity it starts out.
The highest velocity impacts are most likely to occur in the spring when the Earth is moving towards the solar apex. Seligman and his team said in a study recently uploaded to the preprint server RX5 archive. I don't know. Archive. Arxiv. However, impacts in general are more likely to occur during the winter when the Earth is located in the direction to the an- ante-apex. Interstellar objects are more likely to impact the Earth at low latitudes close to the equator, with a slight preference for the northern hemisphere due to the location of the apex. Also known as red dwarfs, M-stars are the most abundant type of star in the Milky Way, which is why the researchers assumed there would be a higher probability of interstellar objects being kicked out of orbits around these stars. They are also most likely to come from the solar apex, or the direction in which the Sun and the entire solar system is headed as it travels through the Milky Way. Our solar system is also located on the galactic plane. Galactic
Okay, we'll
plane.
leave it there at the bottom of the page. You have a few technical words there I'm not too sure about, but that's good. These are very well, I thought, brilliant. Again, I've not seen this before, and it's something they've obviously made up, and it's a link, isn't it? And you thought might be archive. It could be something like that. Often a Z, an X gets pronounced like a Z sound, doesn't it? Ziz. But I'm guessing. I really don't know how to pronounce that. It's obviously made up. It's not a real word as such, is it? But I like archive. It could be archive. I don't know. So anything, anything that I might know the answer about. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, let's start from the occur, Lord.
Okay,
Uh,
that's just below that one there. Occur.
yes,
That's
yeah,
pretty there, I would say. Occur.
occur,
Yeah, that sounds
occur.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Then apex and anti-apex. Anti-apex. It's like,
Yeah, a little bit sort of scientific. I think it's sort of if you're into space science, you'd be using this, or astronomy, I should say. But let's just quickly go back to that other word there, just to that one there. So occur, but I have heard you could sort of say occur as well. Occur. It's a couple of different ways of saying it. I suppose it's a little bit to do maybe with the sound which comes before it when you're talking. So occur. I wonder if there's any mention of it here. I don't know. Let's listen to them. Occur.
Occur.
Yeah. Occur.
uh,
Yeah. So it's sort of like an sound again, isn't it? That sort of classic sort of sound. But
occur.
yeah, you could say occur, but I suppose you might put the in there before it to make it sort of easier to say, depending on the word that came before it in the sentence, sort of thing. I would suggest. So occur, occur. Yeah, I most certainly hear that. I do hear that. I do most certainly do hear that. Let's quickly go back to where we were then. So occur. Um, so So there's this word that's definitely apex, apex, and
That
normally,
is
and the top of something is the apex. So if you had a triangle, the top is the apex, or top of anything. You could say the ape. You might talk about the top of the mountain being of a mountain being the apex. You might say that, or something else being the apex. I was at the apex of my game. I was at the apex of my life. Might not necessarily say that, but that's something you might say. So let's just put that in there, apex, as in top. But in terms of geometry, it's the top of a triangle. So it's a noun. So the apex of an organizational system is the highest and most important position. Culmination, top, crown, height, apex. Um, the apex of something is the point top, the pointed top or end. The apex of a pyramid. So a pyramid, yeah, in Egypt, there's lots of pyramids. They have the apex at the top there. So the highest point, top, tip, apex. So what's the opposite of the apex? Well, that's the other word. Let's say the opposite is here. Is the antipex? Let's put it in there. Let's see what they say. Antipex. Oh, I'll put two A's in it last. Antipex. Let's see how they say it. Anti. So that bit there, you could probably say it as anti. But let's see what they say. Oh, there's no last. They give absolutely no advice how to say it. Um, Astronomy. So, yeah, the point exactly opposite in the direction to the solar apex. So, the point away from which the solar system is moving and towards which the stars appear to be converging, locating in the, that's right, constellation Columba. So the solar system is moving around. It has a direction as it rotates, you might say. And at one point in the year, it's going one way, and another point, it's going another. I think that's right. I'm saying that. So antipex. I just said antipex, but let's if I
anti
but let's
antipex.
no, if I just put a dash there, would that work? I don't know. Oh, seems to. So by putting a dash there, I'm sort of saying this is a suffix. If it's on the end of a word, it would be no, sorry, a prefix if it's at the beginning. So I'm sorry, it's silly. A prefix if it's at the beginning of a word, and a suffix if it's at the end of a word. So I'm putting that dash at and this side means it's a suffix. Let's listen to how they say this.
Anta,
Anta, antipex. I'm not quite sure about that. Antipex. Okay. They're saying effective is antipex.
Anta,
Okay, so antipex doesn't sound quite right to me. Oh,
Anti,
antipex. I don't think so. It's this is a trick here. Let's do a little trick. So, here we go. So this is Youglish. I'm sure you've seen this before. Let's try and type the word in here. So it's antipex. Is that right? Antipex. So we now hit say it, and this is now searching Google's. And of course, it's not actually in supposedly the whole of Google has not got this word. So let's antipex. Why does it antipex? Is that the right spelling? Yeah, antipex. It's a little surprising. It's not. I think it probably is in Google, but this just can't find it. So it says no results. So it's a little surprising. So can't be certain. Can't be certain.
Sometimes when the word with mistake, we use the word with mistake,
Yeah.
English
E-
doesn't
oh,
find.
mm. I don't
Maybe
think it's as good as it's a little bit technical and scientific, isn't it? Antipex. I think it's Antipex. I think that's how it's pronounced. So, so when we went to the dictionary, that's a very sort of electronic voice saying it, and I don't want to say it's wrong, but it isn't always 100% perfect in my experience. So they said
enter,
enter. No, I don't think so. Let's go down. They've got another one here. And no, it's just not there, is it? Ente, SNT. Okay. If we put a oh no, let's forget. I don't think we can easily sort this out. We could put a different letter on the end of there to get it in, and to sort of force it come out with the sound, but it may not necessarily be the right pronunciation. So I'll think about that one, and maybe we'll get back to it. But the meaning is it's the opposite of the apex. So normally an apex would be a triangle, but really the sort of solar system is like a sort of a flat, sort of a disk, roughly speaking, isn't it? So it's not really an apex, but in this sense, it means the direction in which the solar system is moving. So one point we're going toward Columba, and at one point we're going away. Let's just remember those terms, I think. Sorry about that. Okay, so anything else apart from that word and
uh,
archive or archive?
equator. Equator. What's the correct pronunciation of this word?
You're pretty much there. Equator. Equator.
Equator. Yeah.
Yeah, equator. So is that imaginary line around the middle of the
Yeah, I
Earth?
understand.
Or that's it. Yeah, yeah,
Because you use this word in your language and you pronounce
yeah.
this quite different. Okay,
Ah,
and word the most M star are the most abundant. Abundant. It's
yes.
like
Hmm.
it's like abundant
Hmm.
in large quantities. Abundant,
Yes, yes. That's the meaning. You've got it. Yes.
but
Hmm.
but there is a opposite word like empty space, abandoned places. They have
Rare,
abandoned.
rare. So the rarest type of star might be, or rare.
No, no, no. I mean, what's the different pronunciation?
Uh,
Abandoned and abandoned, but the word maybe
abandon.
abandoned. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's it. Yeah. So, yes,
For me,
abundant
it's
here is many.
tricky.
That's
Yeah.
it. Abundant here is many, but
Yes.
abandon is to let go. Perhaps you might have an abandoned children who've been sort of let go by no one sort of um, is charge of them and not caring for them. Yeah, abundant.
abundant,
And the other one is abandon. Abandon. Okay.
Abandoned. And when abandoned, it's meaning it's something lost, something empty.
Yes. Abandoned. It could, yes, it means that too, but it also means I might, sometimes you have people that abandon their car because it broke down, but they might come back to it when they have the money to fix it or, or when they're able to. Sometimes you have an abandoned house, perhaps in a field somewhere because it's dangerous to live there, or maybe because they just moved away and no one bought the house and no one lived in it after them. So yes, abandoned, abandoned. When you abandon something, you just leave it where it is. But you might come back, or someone else might come back sometimes. But abandoned does have that idea in that it's no one's coming back to look at it or care for it or own it again. Yes, so but this one's abundant, abundant. Did you want to just
Abandoned.
say that word? So most abundant type, a most abundant type.
The most abundant, the most abundant type.
Yeah, yeah, that's spot on. That's really good. That's spot on. It's really good.
And yes, there are many words with
Hmm.
W.
Okay.
However,
It didn't strike me at the moment. How about Milky Way? We live
Milky
in the
Way, which is wide. And that's it.
Milky Way. That's it. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It doesn't it does sound like you're a little bit it does sound slightly tricky for you, but you're saying it quite well. You're saying it quite well. But I think it's just saying it more often and becoming more it's just becoming a much more regular and common sound for you, I think, isn't it? I mean that's I think all it takes. I say all it takes. So in other words, it's more and more speaking and reading and learning, I guess. Just becoming more used to saying it. Um, just above Milky Way. I think this word it just sound. I think your Milky Way was better than your this word here. So just fancy
Assumed.
just yeah it's
Assumed.
yeah and again maybe those three words there. So
Researchers assumed there.
yeah, let me say it for you as well. So I'll put a would as well maybe on the bit. So researchers assumed there would researchers assumed there would be. So I said it two different ways. Researchers assumed there would assumed assumed.
Assumed. Assumed.
Um,
Researchers
mm,
researchers assumed there would.
yeah, yeah. That's spot on. That's good enough, I would say. But I would say there's. Let me just put it into the dictionary. Let's take off the D. Say assume. So I'm saying it slightly differently. Assume a duty, assume a function, assume a post, assume an obligation, assume a command, assume. So oh, they're saying the Americans are slightly different. That's interesting. So let's listen to the British. I think this is the British one, isn't it?
assume,
So it's not quite like ass, is it? So it's almost like this. It's almost as this is an H almost, I suppose. Ash, but not quite ash, is it? It's that shun. It's almost that shun sound, like in equation shun. It's almost that shun sound. It's almost that, isn't it? Assume, assume. But I would say assume. Let's listen to the Americans. So this is the British one first of all.
assume,
Assume, assume, and the other one is American is
assume,
assume. We don't. I don't think a lot of people say assume. I think you're much closer to the British way. Do you just do you want to say it this way, a little bit more like this one here, Michael? So
assume,
assume, assume.
Assume. Assume. Assume.
Yeah, yeah,
Different way.
yeah. So
I
it's
pronounce it.
there is a little variety of ways there, I think, isn't there? So but they're all. I think there is variety in English, and I think that's acceptable, very acceptable. And I just noticed that I didn't realise they have the schwa at the beginning here, so it's that sound. And
Uh,
assume, assume. So, and I guess they actually have the emphasis on the U, the vowel there. Assume, assume. Yeah, it's interesting. So if you assume something, you presume it, you think, believe, expect is the meaning effectively. So do you want to we'll just play it once again and then just say it once again. So
assume,
assume, you'll go.
assume.
Yeah.
Assume. Uh, assume.
Listen again,
assume,
you'll go.
Assume.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let me just say a couple more times for you. Assume, assume. So we are saying this assume bit. It's sort of like when you consume something. If you eat something, you consume it. Consume,
Assume.
consume.
Consume.
Assume or assume. Assume.
Assume. Assume.
Yeah. Um, I, I, you will hear people say assume assume, I should say. But it was sort of, again, it might depend a little bit on the word that came before it, I think, depending on how easy it is to make that beginning sound. But it is really this sort of sound more. Assume. It's more like an It's more like the ER. Officially, it's more like ER. Assume. To put double S. Whoops, treble S. Assume. It's more like assume, I would say. Which of course is
Assume.
the schwa sound, isn't it? But you will hear some people have said assume. You will hear assume as well. Assume a little bit to some degree. So, but mainly it's assume. So just see the assume bit at the moment. You know, the same sound as consume when you eat something. Assume.
Shoom.
Yeah.
Shoom.
That's spot on. That's keep that bit and just try to put the on the front of it. Assume.
Assume.
Yeah. That's
Assume.
it. That's pretty much it. I would say. If you can just keep saying assume, as in like consume, that's the sound basically. That's it. But just become a little bit more fluent to make the sounds run together more naturally, and that's it. You have it, I would say. Well, just listen once more and say it once more. So
assume,
assume. You'll go.
Assume.
Yeah,
Assume.
yeah. Maybe you're when you, that's not that's good enough. But when you were doing it here, I think you were a little bit closer. I would say. But so it just wants a bit more practice. I would say. But we'll leave it for the moment because we're sort of going around in circles a little bit. I think. And maybe come back to it in an hour. Just say it 5 or 6 times, 7 or 8 times maybe, but don't go too much. Because it's very easy to go to get it wrong and then stick into a wrong path, I think, rather than the correct path or sound sort of a thing. Okay, we'll do that again in a few minutes, hopefully, maybe. So, assume, and maybe this one here, I think. So we don't use this word very often. Do you mind just saying that one again there? I think it was the end. It didn't sound quite right.
Interstellar. Interstellar.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Yes, interstellar, interstellar.
Interstellar.
Yes,
Interstellar.
yeah. So it's similar ending to solar.
Solar.
So as in
Solar.
solar system or solar apex.
Apex.
Yeah, solar. So, hmm. Um, Thinking about it, at the beginning, there was an NG word. So this is it ends in NG. I'm thinking. So maybe that's that word there. So the time of year this is. So in the spring when what's that the bit there maybe?
In the spring.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not too bad. Yes. In the spring. In the spring when that's it.
In the spring when.
Yeah. That's pretty good actually. It is a tricky sound. That's pretty good. That's the best I've heard you say it ever, I think. That's good. Um, and I think this word isn't often used. It didn't come out quite right when you said it. It's next to this other one. So that one there.
Reprint.
Yeah, I think I think most people say it as preprint. Preprint.
Preprint.
So
Yeah.
the pre bit is
Preprint.
before, so it hasn't been printed yet. It hasn't been sort of made wide. I think it's basically we're saying this thing hasn't been made widely available, or it has other meanings too, I think. But generally, it means it's not widely available or hasn't been scientifically checked. I think is what mainly is. You could say what it really means. So preprint. So just once more, preprint.
Preprint.
Yeah, preprint.
Preprint.
Yeah, that's pretty much there, I think. So
Preprint.
pre just means before, doesn't it? You can see you can put pre in front of many sort of nouns, really, can't you? Quite a number of nouns or things, I guess, to mean before something. And just print, so as in printed at the printing press. To make a book, you print them out, of course. And again, I don't really know that. I've not come across this. Obviously, it's a specialist name, but I think your guess was pretty good, I thought. Assume apex. That was it, really. I can't really think of anything else. So just want to do equator again. So equator.
Equator. Equator.
Yeah, equator. Yeah,
Equator.
that's it. You're getting there. It's getting there. Probably was a little bit more practice to make you more fluent with it, but you're getting that's pretty good. Good enough, really. Equator. So maybe that one again there. So preprint.
Preprint.
Yeah, that's good.
Preprint.
Yeah, that's getting it. That's getting it. And that one again, maybe there.
Interstellar. Interstellar.
Ah, the last one was the best one. And maybe that one up the top again, up here, perhaps.
Spring.
Spring. Yeah, all I heard was that bit there. So you missed out the sort of the NG
Spring.
sound.
Spring. Spring. Spring.
You lost. Ah, that's it. Spring.
Spring.
Spring. Okay, that's good. Great, fantastic. So any other questions? Anyone from anything? Any other bits and bobs?
No, I haven't.
That's good. Fantastic. Really good. So Giuseppe, do you fancy one last read through?
Okay, a little paragraph. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so whoops. Oh, went too far. Oh, blast. So what surprises the researchers? Perhaps someone
Yeah.
there? Okay, over to you.
What surprised the researchers was that the hypothetical interstellar objects with the highest probability of impacting Earth also had the slowest velocities. This is because they are likely to be hyperbolic bodies which do not orbit the Sun, whose orbits have low eccentricity, meaning they are closer to circular than elliptical. Oumuamua was cruising through space on a highly eccentric orbit when observed, and it came now here near the hitting Earth. The orbit of 2I Borisov was another eccentric orbit that kept it far from Earth when it passed and then took it even further.
Yes. Fantastic reading. What can I say? Let me have a go reading it again. So what surprised the researchers was that the hyperbolic interstellar objects with the highest probability of impacting Earth also had the slowest velocities. So as I'm reading it there, I gave a little bit of extra emphasis to the word slowest velocities when I said it, because that's the sort of peculiarity. Because they're sort of saying highest and then slowest is that sort of comparison there they're making. So the slowest is the peculiar word, and that's the word I gave extra emphasis to. That's the unexpected word, you might say. So to carry on from there then. So this is because they are likely to be hyperbolic bodies which do not orbit the sun, whose orbits have low eccentricity. So eccentricity, meaning they are closer to circular than elliptical. Oumuamua was cruising through space on a highly eccentric orbit when observed, and it came nowhere near to hitting Earth. So that's nowhere. So it looks like now here, but it's actually nowhere. So nowhere near to hitting Earth. The orbit of 2I Borisov was another eccentric orbit that kept it far from Earth when it passed and then took it even further. There we go. Your reading was very, very good. Mine was just a different way of reading it, I suppose. I was reading it more in an entertainment way. I think I'd describe your more as a scientific way of reading it, I would say. So that is a tricky word. It looks like now here, but it's really nowhere. It's just simply nowhere. Nowhere. That was all I really noticed. And maybe and I tripped over it too, I think. It was the word, oh, that one there. So circular. So circle, basically. Circular.
Circular.
Yeah.
Circular.
And your eccentricity was better than mine, I would say. Eccentricity. So if a person is eccentric, it means they're a little bit strange, a little odd maybe. And sometimes you hear about an old person who's eccentric, or a wealthy person who's eccentric. But in this sense here, this is sort of an astronomy meaning of the word, or you could say even a orbital mechanics. When you talk about the sun and bodies orbiting planets and the sun, you can the sun sort of to study that is orbital mechanics, or can be one of the ways is orbital mechanics or astronomy. So orbital mechanics works out the exact details of the orbits, and really talk about orbital mechanics when you want to fly a satellite towards something, as in a rocket perhaps, or to Mars or something. And eccentricity here is talking really about how close to a circle it is. So the more eccentric it is, the further away from a circle, roughly, let's say, roughly a normal orbit of one of the planets, which is almost circular but not quite. So it's low eccentricity, it means it's more circular, and highly eccentric means it's not circular. I'm saying this really for the purpose of the recording, because I suspect very much that you guys understand this already. But what does hyperbolic mean? Here they're saying likely to be hyperbolic bodies, but what does the word hyperbolic mean? Anyone want to? Now, this is really your go, Giuseppe. Do you know what the word? I'm sure you probably do, hyperbolic, but how would you explain hyperbolic as a word?
I think they are objects that can reach a very high orbit instead of having a quite regular orbit. So probably hyperbole is when you reach the highest point possible and then goes down, I think.
Yeah. So what's the opposite of hyperbolic, would you say? Is there an opposite? There's almost always an opposite, isn't there?
Hyper.
Oh, with an O, you mean hypobolic. That's interesting. Is that what you said? Let's pop it in the dictionary. So
I know in math, on the geometrics, it's
yes.
like geometrics. Yes, it's hyperbola. It's like graphics when it's when I don't know x and y it's coordinates, and we create some hyperbola. It's like
Yeah. That's interesting. So they do have hyperbole. Well, yeah, I think I know what we're talking about. Yes, so there's hyper and there's hyper and hypo. They're the opposites of each other. So that sounds like could be an opposite. So let's just click on hyperbolic anyway. Let's see what hyperbolic is. So I made up this other word with a Y in it, with an O in it, I should say. So here, let's listen to them. Hyperbolic.
Hyperbolic.
So hyperbolic language makes something sound much more impressive than it really is. So if it's hyperbolic, it's exaggerated. If it's hyperbolic, it's overstated, enlarged, magnified. And I think that's basically what you were saying, isn't it? That's it. That's sort of in everyday language as an adjective. But scientifically, we've got a scientific meaning here, haven't we? So this is so they're saying here. So the two possibles are rhetoric, as in language or writing, of or relating to hyperbole. So in other words, exaggerated. And here they're saying of or relating to a hyperbola. It's exactly the same description to explain the meaning of it. So, so, so it's geometry, isn't it? So you have the hyperbola, and the opposite of hyperbola is a parabola, isn't it? There's a parabola is the opposite in geometry. The opposite of hyperbole, in sort of in everyday language, hyperbolic. Oh, maths. There we go. They're saying maths. So it doesn't really help us, does it? So really, it's the shape of a line, isn't it? In mathematics or geometry, it's the particular shape. Hyperbole is one shape, and a parabola or parabole, I suppose, is the other is the opposite, or an opposite, I should say. So if it's parabolic, if a body is on a parabolic course, I think that means it's almost effectively orbiting, doesn't it mean? If it's hyperbolic, it means it's not orbiting. I think that's the meaning that you're getting here, isn't it? I think, Ed. Yeah, there it says. Yeah, so this is because they are likely to be hyperbolic bodies, and then there's a comma, and basically they then give the meaning, which do not orbit the sun. That's the point. Hyperbolic bodies do not orbit the sun. That's the point. Whereas if it had a parabolic shape or an eccentric shape, you could say it was orbiting the sun. That's the difference, I think. Phew, got there eventually.
I think I
Yeah.
tried to uh,
Hmm.
draw this. It's like
Oh yeah. Oh, a
it's
little graph. Please do.
hyperbola looks here and here. So
Wow.
I think if the solar system is meaning center, this
Hmm.
body is moving like hyperbola here.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's my
Hmm.
opinion. So not
The
like
yeah. Parabolic. Yeah. But I would put the you're deleting the lines. Um, so I would put that. Oh, I can't. I've got the pen, but I'm not
oh,
writing.
sorry.
Let's say black. So let's say I don't know how to write. um, select T. Oh, pen, draw. There we go. I didn't click the draw button. My mistake. Silly me. I think if that's the sun, I would say that. Uh, oh, blast. That's something like a parabola. That shape there. Forget. And the hyperbola is. Let's do it the other side. It's just a more extreme, not quite. So it's. I suppose it could be that. Couldn't? Oh, blast. Yeah, you're better at this than I. How do I delete that? You're much better. I give up on that. Um, yeah, so it's the shape of the line we're talking about, shape of the orbit, effectively. That's basically what it comes down to. But if it's hyperbolic, it can't be orbiting. That's the point. If it's a hyperbolic line, it's making it can't be orbiting. But if it's parabolic, it probably is, or almost certainly is, because parabolic is basically something like a curve, or it's going to come into a curve, I guess, or a circle, I should say, or or elliptical. Um, anything else there?
No.
Okay, that's pretty good. Well done. Let me have a quick read. Did I read this already? This one, I haven't I? Yes, I have read that one. I was going to read it again then. Um, so there's another word here I've just noticed. So this is again, this is it's a bit of astronomy really. So there is something called the Oort cloud. So that's pronounced Oort, double O. I think it's someone's name originally. I'm guessing, but is so the Oort cloud is something way outside the what we think of as the solar system. It's a cloud of comets, I think it is. Effectively. Is that an interesting article? Maybe we'll leave it at that point. Is it a little bit too scientific, hard to understand?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
there
are
are
technical nouns, but yeah, it is interesting to read these articles.
Hmm. So do you remember the difference between so there was three words. There was meteor, meteorite. We didn't really use that in this thing here, did we? But and there was meteoroid. So any idea what the difference is? So meteorite, meteor. Let's put that. Yeah, meteor. That's the picture we have on the screen there. Then there was meteoroid. Is that right? Yeah, meteoroid and meteorite. Any idea what the difference is? Oh, dear.
when meteor reach the Earth, the surface,
Yes,
it, it will be meteorite.
that's it. Yes, that's the difference. Yes, they all look very similar, don't they? Um, a- and so, what was the first one? What was that one? What's the meaning of that? The words around that that explain it? Do you have any idea?
Meteor is the object
Mhm.
which flying in the space. It can be dust, it can be, I don't know,
Yes.
ice with dust, with some
Mm.
material, and flying in the space by orbits or
Mm.
para hyperbolic, hyper hyperbola, by
Yeah,
hy-
hyperbolic. It would be hyperbolic
hyperbolic, yes,
orbit. Yeah.
or or yeah, and
Mm.
sometimes they can
Mhm.
affect by big objects like Earth or another planet, and
Mhm.
uh, I forget the forget the word,
So,
and
yeah,
fall to the Earth.
that's right. So a meteorite may be going through space in a perhaps a hyperbolic or parabolic or even any kind of an orbit. It may go through the Earth's atmosphere, which makes it a meteor.
Thank you.
And when we see it burning up in the sky or starting to burn up in the sky, that's a meteor. You only see meteors. They're not in outer space. It's only when it's in the atmosphere it's a meteor. So as they come through the atmosphere, they start to burn up, become a meteor. When they hit the ground, because of gravity or different sized bodies attract each other, all bodies attract each other in outer space. When it hits the ground, it becomes a meteor. I mean, these are just words, really, aren't they? I think normally meteoroids are smaller bits of stuff floating around, and normally it's rock, sort of it's rock. If it's ice, they normally talk about them as being comets. If it's basically ice, they talk about that as being a comet, and that's really what they think that's what the Oort clouds are. It's basically a cloud of comets, but it's a heck of a long distance out. It's a long, long way. Um, So when they're ice, it's comets. When they're a bit more rocky, they think of them as being meteoroids. But really, they're sort of discovering things which makes them think, oh no, we've got our definitions wrong, or it's not quite so certain if it's all rock. It may be rock and ice. So you're right, really, to be honest, Michael.
Yeah.
It's a
And
bit
this,
confused, and they change their minds a little bit every so often as we discover
this
new
is
things.
meteoroid, the bigger than the space dust,
Oh
but
yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
meteoroid, the meteoroid has a special size. It's from 1 micrometer to
Oh
one
yeah,
meter.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
I've read it.
Ah yes, okay.
Google it.
Yeah, they're saying, yeah, they keep it simple here. So any of the small celestial bodies that are thought to orbit the sun, possibly as the remains of comets, now they're comets now, when they enter the Earth's atmosphere, they become meteors. That's great. Yeah, it explains it a bit here, doesn't it? So when when you can see them entering the atmosphere and they start to burn up, then they become a meteor. Meteoroidal. That's interesting what there. So meteoroidal. That's the adjective.
Okay, Tony, sorry, I have to
Okay.
go. Thanks for the class
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very
so,
much for coming.
and see you next time.
Okay. See you next time.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
Michael. Thank you.
Bye bye, Giuseppe. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. So let's call it a day there then. So stop the recording. Thanks for coming.
Okay, thank you for lesson.